Yeah.
Man, okay, guys. Okay. I did not know that in 2011, Donald Trump got on The View with the cackling hen. I would have never thought it. I would have never imagined that.
Wow, how did that go?
And because 2011, you got to think that's when he was trying to run. I mean, that's probably when he was letting people know that he was going to run, because he got in on 2016, so 11, so that was what, 5 years after. So he had just announced that he was going to run. Well, yeah, I mean, this was 5 years prior to him becoming president. So I bet they were, I don't know, man. Whoopi is the epitome of woke. So when I see her, she just don't look like she's any interested in listening if it ain't somebody who she wants. So I'm really curious to see what the cackling is talking about on here. Like, you about to lose that phone, my girl.
A real estate mogul and a television.
Look at her face.
Better.
Okay.
I mean,
Donald
it's so
Trump is
blurry.
a billionaire,
Yeah.
a real
And,
estate
I
mogul,
feel like I
and a
still sound
television
low.
star. But does he really want to add president of the United States to his resume? A lot of people would
Yeah.
like him to.
Better.
Please, let's find out, and please welcome my friend, Donald Trump.
Listen,
My friend?
That was all good until he became president.
Wow. Wow, and wow.
Right. Unbelievable. I
would've
never thought, ever thought.
Yes.
Ever thought.
This is like kryptonite to him.
Hello, darling. You're right. Hello.
We're so happy to have
And so funny, years later, 10 years later, where they would be 10 years later plus talking trash, who are the ones that are still there, like Whoopi.
Whenever you're on with us, we're very happy.
Oh, we love it.
Okay, so I'm going to take you at your word that you have not decided yet when you're going to run, but you're thinking about it, and you've expressed some of your views, which are controversial and in many ways, yeah, but
Not to her.
Well, not to her. Okay, you're a Republican, but let's say that you do decide in the spring, right? And your ideas resonate so much. On the other hand, you know, we saw Newt Gingrich apologizing for his marriages and divorces. You've had 3 marriages, 2 sort of uncomfortable divorces. Do you think that the...
Not really. They were very comfortable.
do you think that the country, that would bother anybody?
I think the country is doing so badly, they want somebody that's going to help it. I think the country is never been in a position like it is right now. It's being ripped off by every nation, every intelligent nation in the world, whether it's China. They're taking our jobs, they're making all our product, and then they loan us back the money, we pay them interest.
That is
whether
crazy.
it's OPEC, which is, I mean, they're having a field day right now. How about the Arab League? They say, we want you to go in and attack Libya. These are the wealthiest countries in the world. Why aren't they paying us?
Okay,
Why
so
aren't
then they changed
I
their
agree with
minds
that,
also.
but you didn't answer my question.
No, I did answer your question.
Well,
I really
you
think
it won't
people...
matter.
I think maybe 10 years ago it would have mattered, 5 years ago.
Yeah.
The fact is, I think people want somebody now that's going to protect them and protect this country, because we're not going to be a great country for long if we keep going the way we're going right now.
Exactly.
When we have... Barbara...
Still holding
Hence
true.
When
where
we
we are
have
again
France,
now.
France leading the charge, okay? France. This is our new leader. By the way, they led for about 2 hours. After that, nobody's seen them. I don't know if you know that.
Geographically, so they
Let me
should.
just ask a follow-up question to that.
lead is the point.
Let me just ask
instead of the
a
other way around.
follow-up question to that. Let's say you run. You've given a lot of thought for this. Who would you like as your vice president? Possibly Sarah Palin?
Well, I think it's far too early even to discuss that. I'm going to make a decision sometime prior to June. I'm thinking about it very strongly. I think I'd do a really good job. I think I'd protect this country like it's not being protected. You know, it's funny. So many of the things I say, now politicians are saying, hey, that's right. Why don't we, why aren't they paying us? If you look at North Korea, South Korea, we're protecting South Korea. They're making a fortune. Let's call it hundreds of billions of dollars of profit on us. We have 25,000 soldiers over there protecting them. They don't pay us. Why aren't they paying us?
You'd be treating this like a business.
No, a business with heart.
Okay.
Believe me, there's a lot of heart. It's a business, but it's also a business with heart. We will destroy this country. It won't be a war. If the economics of this country keep going the way they're going, we're not going to have a country.
You're kind of a social liberal, Donald. You know, you're a social liberal. Could you actually get the base to vote for you in the primary?
Well, every poll is saying that I'm the one that does the best. They're doing polls.
They actually have you a higher approval rating than Mitt Romney, Tim Pawlenty, John Boehner.
Well,
but out of those, if you're thinking of competition within the party to get the nomination, really your biggest competition will be, should you get the nomination, President Obama.
Well, I was the only one.
Him?
A CNN poll just came out, as you probably saw, and I was the only one that was essentially tied with Obama. Everyone was 10 and 15 points down. So, we'll see. I haven't made a decision. I'll be making a decision, and I will do a good job if...
Did you just hear no?
I heard something, but I don't know what it was.
She said no.
I decide yes, and if I win.
Okay.
I just was wondering, because you were talking about how all these countries have been doing this. You would admit that this has sort of been business as usual for the last 30 years. I mean,
yes.
we have. So this is not because it's nothing new. This has been going on. So you're saying you would come in and stop that practice?
But it's never been as bad as it is now. We've never had $1.6 trillion in deficits.
It was as bad when George Bush left office. So he was the one who left this.
You're right.
Who left this.
Excuse me. I'm a Republican.
That's all
George Bush, he gave us Obama. I'm not a big fan of George Bush. I'm not a fan of
let's
Obamacare.
not talk about who gave who,
I know,
baby,
Whoopi.
because
I
we
don't
all
think I'm going to
bent
get
over.
Whoopi's vote.
If you did, let me just ask, if you did beat...
And she likes me. She even put me in a
I was
movie.
just going to say.
She put me in a
okay,
movies,
yes,
right?
we
A
are
long time ago.
friends.
Wow. See, that shows you how crazy stuff is, because back in the day,
How things change so fast.
My. Do we forget that I was in your movies and now you talking all nasty about me? No, you talking nasty about me because it's good for your ratings. You probably don't even talk like that when you at home by yourself.
How much did I charge? Nothing.
Like they say in the
It was a freebie.
If you did beat Obama, though,
It's just
would you say
business,
you're
Donald.
fired to him if you did beat him in the general election?
I don't want to trivialize it. We have this show that turned out to be such a success, and maybe that's why I'm sitting here partially, because people have gotten to know me.
They respect it. What about this? You recently said about President Obama, I'm going to quote you, he grew up and nobody knew him. Nobody knows who he is until later in his life. The whole thing is very strange. What are you driving at there? Are you a Bertha, Donald?
Okay, let me just tell you. I was a really good student at the best school. I'm not like a smart guy, okay? They make these birthers into the worst idiots. Why doesn't he show his birth certificate? I think he
should he
probably...
have to?
Because I have to and everybody else has to.
Right.
I'm sure
Why
that
you can't
wouldn't he
become
show...
president.
Excuse me. Why? No, excuse me. I really believe there's a birth certificate. Why? Look, she's smiling. Why doesn't he show his birth certificate? And you know what? I wish he would, because I think it's a terrible pall that's hanging over him. He should show his birth certificate. The other thing, if you go back to my first grade, my kindergarten, people remember me. Nobody from those early years.
That's not
We
true.
We have pictures of him. What are you talking about?
Okay, show me a picture.
There are kids in Hawaii, people that he's
14-year-old,
grown
I've
up.
seen 13,
No,
but
it's
I
little
haven't
kids.
But the things that he was talking about in 2011 have surfaced.
They have surfaced. They're back.
No one wanted to address the issues, but now, and how many years later?
That's 12 years
A
later.
darn shame.
12 years later.
Wow.
Early pictures. But more importantly, why doesn't he... And you know what? I think he probably was, but the word probably,
Why should he,
Whoopi...
why
the
should
word
he have to defend
because you're
himself against
you know why?
against an accusation?
Because if you're going to be the president...
That there is this
Because if you're going to be the president of the United States, it says very profoundly that you have to be born in this
But
country.
did any other president do that? Did George Bush show me his
Facts. He's giving y'all the facts.
Yeah, let's go.
You know
what I
over
say?
him if it's
Probably
true.
he was.
No one has ever asked George Bush or said to George Bush, I'm sorry, is Hawaii not part of the United
guarantee you,
States?
George Bush. And I'm not saying I was a fan of George Bush.
No.
You know that better than anybody.
But why-
George Bush was born in this country. That's right.
What is isn't Hawaii still part of the United States?
Question?
Am I gone?
You know,
He's handling them as best as
Look at
he
the hand.
can.
The hand is literally a crossing guard that's letting the kids by for
Okay,
school.
He's like, hold up, let me answer this question, then I
Wait,
get back to you.
excuse me.
Hold up.
I love how he includes people into the conversation that they don't even know they're about to be included. He'll say, and you know better than anybody.
But he's
And
handling it
Huh?
very well.
No, he is. I don't think so. What's funny is how he handled it 12 years ago. 12 years later, he ain't handle it like that. Like, he ain't got enough patience to deal with these people where he would have dealt with them in the past. You get what I'm saying?
I mean,
Like,
I think he handled well. He's a
I'm
little
talking
bit
about-
more
I'm telling now he like
direct.
Yeah, he's super direct
He was
now.
more direct
little-
when he got elected, though.
Yeah, but I don't think Trump President Trump then and now is different. He like, I ain't paying 2 seconds on this.
Yeah,
He won't put no time
he's
into
a
it.
little bit more selective.
Whether he was or not because he hasn't come forward with it.
I grew up in New York. Wall Street was a big part. I have seen fraud, and I have seen scandal, and I have seen things that a lot of people don't see. I've seen people take $100 bill and make it $1 million bill.
We're going to have to pause. Get to the point.
Okay, the point is, I can't rely on some newspaper that they show
In
that.
order to become president of the United States, in order to
I
get
want
a
him to
driver's
show his
license,
birth
in order to-
certificate. I want him to show his birth
Okay,
certificate.
that's fair.
There's something on
Okay,
that
why
birth
not, I
certificate that he doesn't like.
Oh my God!
terrible
Just
thing.
And look how it was so true too, and was. You got some numbers scratched off on that birth certificate that don't want to see. Obama's from Kenya. He's Kenyan. So
Whoopi, I love you. I'm telling
I love
you.
you too. I think that's the biggest pile of dog mess I've heard in ages.
They don't know. They don't have no facts, no proof. They don't do no investigative reporting.
Let him show has nothing to do with it.
They ain't too
I've
funny.
never heard any white president asked to be shown the birth certificate. When you become a president of the United States of America, you know that he's
Let him
American.
show his birth
That's
Oh, that's just sounds
please.
so absurd to me.
Talk about the Apprentice.
Doesn't matter. It's doing great. The ratings are through the roof. This is
I know that's right.
More of this when we come back.
You're right. Like, I don't care. I'm in the lead anyway. Ha! Ooh, wow.
he was super calm and cool, calm and collective on this.
Well, we very rarely do this, and it may be setting a bad precedent, but we love him so. We've asked Donald Trump to stay to the second segment. Real fast, could you beat Obama?
I think if I run and win and get the nomination, I definitely think I could beat Obama. We're doing very, very poorly as a country. I think I could beat him.
Answer is yes, you do. Okay.
I want to change it up.
Or I wouldn't run.
Right.
If you didn't think. All right, we're going to change it a little bit and go to Celebrity Apprentice. You got a crazy cast this season, Donald. I want to start with one of the people. You do. Okay, Gary Busey.
He like, y'all just don't know. Future Donald Trump is like, yeah, I'm be president. Ain't nobody thinking about the cast of Celebrity Apprentice no more.
But I'm
Tell
glad
us
she
about
changed
Gary
the
Busey.
subject.
He just seems a little, woo.
Yeah, he is. I'll tell you, he's great. He's an amazing character, but he's a total genius, but he's nuts. So it's a combination.
A genius at what?
He comes up with thoughts and comes up with statements. And
Everything is that he's got initials for everything.
oh, it's amazing.
you know,
He'll come up with a word, and then he'll have 15 words behind it.
He
He really is. He's a
is.
brilliant guy, but he's got
Nick
some
Nolte.
big issues.
What about the emotion there? Because Meatloaf, I never knew there was so much emotion there.
What do you think?
Meatloaf is a big surprise to me because he's this tough, big, strong guy. He weighs 270 pounds, and every time I talk to him, he starts crying.
Do you get emotional like that? Because you sound like speaker
Well,
John
I said
Boehner.
I don't like that. I mean, I respect John Boehner, but I don't want a person that
But you're
cries. I
very
mean,
tender with Meatloaf, Don.
no, I think Meatloaf is.
I believe that the reason why the conversation is so calm because in the back of their mind they never thought he was going to run. He, you know, it's just like
when?
us, right? On like when we were sitting there looking at when it was time for Donald Trump to run years ago, we were like, yeah, that's never going to happen. And I think if you could tell by the relaxation of these ladies, they never thought it was going to happen either. So it's just like, you know, conversation. He always just, you know, a celebrity that's going to run, you know, yeah, we'll see.
Right.
He's not going to make it. And then later he make it and now they hate you because they really don't want you to, they really never thought you would be in that position. So they haven't prepared for you to be in that role. So they,
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
When's the last time
And I
you
think
cried?
John Boehner's fantastic. Last time I cried,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Which divorce
make
was
you
it?
Come on.
Which divorce.
She wrong
There's
for that.
nothing wrong with crying. I don't want to make like, oh, big. I'm some big tough guy.
You're
There's
not-
nothing wrong with crying. I'm just not a big.
Ivanka's having a baby.
She's having a baby.
Maybe you'll cry then
That's
when
right.
that.
What about the women on the show?
Well, I'll tell
Because
you-
Dionne Warwick is getting
Nene
Dionne Warwick
and Nina, yeah.
gets beat
And
up so badly.
Yeah.
Dion's look crabby.
Dion is tougher than people think, but she gets beat up. But I'll tell you who gets beat up more than anybody I've ever seen in the history of reality television. Your very close friend, Star Jones.
Why?
She gets. Well, Nene is tough, and so
Nene
is
is
Star.
from the Atlanta
So
Housewives.
is
if you
Star.
don't know.
They go at each other. It's unbelievable. You know, they're both smart. They're both tough. But Nene is a very big woman.
If you could tell by based on how Trump is even having this conversation, he didn't even think he was going to win himself. because who was that? I think we might have been listening to something where he was running, and then they were like, "Oh crap, you about to win for real." So if you can look at how he's not even really talking about the conversation, he hasn't gone back to that conversation. He didn't really have a lot of confidence he was going to win either. I really truly don't think that he knew he was going to win.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, physically, just a really big, powerful woman.
Right. She's tall.
And she is very intimidating. You have to see what happens.
They was on the same level, right?
Mark my words.
Yeah.
No, not in terms of size or intelligence.
No, in terms of you know, that they can, personality-wise.
Personality-wise, they're both great. I will tell you, it's the greatest thing ever. It makes Omarosa. Remember Omarosa?
Yes.
It makes Omarosa like a very kind, sweet woman.
This week, you're saying.
For the next 4 weeks, actually. It goes on for a period of time, but this week, I love it.
You love it.
I do
So we
love
should
it.
watch it, but I really want to get to this the roast that was on Comedy Central.
Wow.
This roast, Donald was so raunchy, and you're not known for being raunchy. I mean, you had Snoop on stage, you know, smoking.
You were a good
It was a
sport,
lot of
too.
sexual humor. How in the world did you? It was for charity, but
And Snoop is another one. All supported Donald Trump.
I
Used to
didn't know
support him.
that.
Used to
In
go
the
to his
initial-
events. They were really
Wow.
cool and close.
So
and
what
then
happened?
when people realized the person that was on their level to a degree now is elevated, they don't like that. They don't like that because honestly, man, if Trump wasn't running, or if it wasn't like an Obama, I don't even think I'd just really be surprised Snoop even vote. Period.
Snoop and Donald Trump on the same level?
Yeah, like celebrity status. It just, you know, Trump was had way more money, but they were on that celebrity level. They were celebrity friends.
Right. I mean, so I just wouldn't have put him on the same level, even though they were celebrities.
But he was
Still
Trump was a
different
still businessman, but he was a celebrity too.
Mm-hmm.
But these people couldn't have fathomed that he would have actually been there where he'd been a leader of the country. It's all good when we in the same kind of bracket to a degree, but when you become leader, that's a problem to the people.
I
To
can
them.
see it.
How were the ratings?
it was the best ratings they ever got.
Okay.
It was the highest that they
I
ever
have to
got.
explain this. I have to explain. I did it for a very specific. I would never have done it in a million years because I've seen the roast. They're brutal, and this was more brutal than any of them. I did it because they paid me a lot of money, and I gave it all to charity. So I said to myself, "Am I going to sit there for an hour and be just horribly abused, and then go home and hand a lot of money to different AIDS research and lots of great charities, or am I going to sit home, watch television?" and not give anything? And I decided to sit, and I was actually happy with it. I was happy with how well it did. You know, it was their most successful show.
What do you think about the situation
Tell
there?
me, how did it feel like when they really attack you and they do a hair
They
joke?
really
or
are.
whatever?
daughter was in
the
the
hair I'm
audience.
used to. Excuse me, you attack my hair all the time. I got used to you were worse than they were.
I stopped.
No, you were worse than they
Do
were.
you mind when people attack your hair?
No.
Is
I
there
don't.
any- is
And you
there
know what,
anything-
Barbara? You know what? Look,
It's real.
It's really mine. You know, it's like
Wow. I was looking at that. Oh my gosh. Today.
Wow.
Together over the years.
she is very sexy. I want to tell you.
He knows how to get to me. Is there
your daughter
anything,
was
is
in
there
the
anything
audience.
that you are insecure about?
That you want to say on TV.
I don't want to say. You know, I probably do. I don't want to give it up. Let somebody figure it out someday.
That's right.
Right?
Let's go.
Hey,
Don't give ammunition to
on
the
television,
enemy.
the reason we don't have the big stars like they used to with Clark Gable and all, you know, Clark Gable didn't go on like your show and say, I'm an alcoholic, I'm this. Now they get on, they cry, they're alcoholics, they're this, they're drug addicts, and you say, they're just like everyone else. So if I do have an insecurity, I'm not talking.
Let's go. Try to figure it out. I love it.
Listen, Donald, so far, there's nothing you haven't been successful at. You're a great character. You're a great friend of ours. We don't know whether you should be president, but we do know that you will enjoy watching.
But you do admit
The
I'd be a great
Apprentice.
president.
You have possibilities.
Barbara, don't blow it.
So, the celebrity
Don't blow it.
The Celebrity Apprentice. You want to say something else besides that?
But I don't think you're a real Republican. I
No,
think
I'm a
you're-
real Republican.
I think you're.
The Apprentice is Sunday nights. Check your local listings. He's always wonderful to watch. We'll be right back.
Wow. So different.
Wow. Listen. Wow.
Such a change.
Super change.
Such a change.
That is a change.
Wow. Well, and is it, or is that just behind, or is that just on the camera?
Him or
versus
them?
Them.
Them. I believe them. I believe that the conversation they have gets their ratings, because if they show and that they're the opposition, they're for this woke and they're for all this stuff like this, then
And at the end of the day, if they have a
ratings,
dinner or private funding, they all gonna be there. Hee hee ha ha.
Exactly.
Maybe except for Whoopi, but I think the others would be
right,
toasting and talking about that interview from 2011.
Yeah. I really do believe that. I really believe that them.
Now, who knows? Whoopi might be too, but
I really believe them with all that attitude now that he's become president. But when they can do that on camera, and when they go home, I believe it's different. I don't even believe it's all that they do on The View.
Well, that's what's been said, even when it comes to Republicans and Democrat, is
they
that
come and hang out together
they
afterwards.
go and do their job. They put on their hats and their roles. After the clock, they all sitting back at whatever the local, bar is or eatery in that area, toasting together and talking about what they didn't do or should have done.
I can see that
in Congress. So
I can see that.
But at the end of the day, these people are still human, and it's still a job. I don't know if it ever turns off, but when you still have a job and a role, how is it really separation? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Even though it's said you want to separate your personal and business, but it's no way.
No.
And that's just one side of the research. Other research says that, a whole different model is being more personable in your business. Yeah. But anyway, not going to go that route. But yeah,
it's so interesting just seeing how they act them and years later.
Years later. And the stuff that he was saying back then is a little similar to what he's saying now, but it's still different. Yeah. I just don't remember it being that corrupt.
I don't either. What?
The government.
No.
When he first got in office.
We weren't zoned in and paying attention to it. Like, they were still corrupt, but it wasn't like, whoa.
But you didn't hear about George Bush getting fried or they were trying to oust him because he was doing some underarms dealings.
People were so tired of George Bush. It wasn't about that stuff, but remember Kanye was like when the whole flood happened in New Orleans?
Oh, well, yeah, I remember that.
George Bush doesn't like black people.
I remember that. It took him how long to get down there?
Right, but
well,
that was cool.
They really didn't like him.
That was cool seeing that interview, seeing him back in the day with that. I'm glad somebody ripped this and they had it in the archive, because when you just go regular search, you can't find the daggone video.
I guarantee he would dare not step foot on The View now. You think he would go?
Nah.
Yeah.
For what?
No. 13
years later, he already made the role as president. He's gonna become president again. I'm like, I ain't about to talk to y'all about what. He was like, this one I was still celebrity on y'all level. So anyway, like, comment, subscribe. Don't take a nosedive, but comment down in the section below if you want more. We gotta go.
Love you guys. See you in the next video. Subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you on the next video.
All right.
Love you guys.
Bye.